Welcome, football fans, and thank you for tuning into the USFL Network. I am your host, Hype. You can find me at USFL Network. We are live across Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Giveaways are coming soon, so be sure to subscribe if you want in. Search USFL Network, no spaces. The King of Retro has got your back on all USFL throwbacks. Enter promo code USFL Network at checkout for 10% off your entire purchase. So I want to go ahead and get this started. Joining me tonight, as always, is the gambling man himself. No, it's not Kenny Rogers, but it's our guy Ace. Ace, where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at PocketAces_USFL on both. And tonight I am very happy to introduce our first coach, a Gamblers coach, the running backs coach for the Houston Gamblers, JD Runnels Jr. Let's bring him on.
All right, let's bring him on here. All right, so he's on. So I'm not sure, his connection may be a little bit low in the hotel room there.
Birmingham.
So the coach is in Birmingham, yes. Let's see. Yeah, he's frozen. I don't know if you can see it. Maybe he'll jump.
No, he's a black screen on mine.
Yeah, I know. I can see his last picture and the connection. It's all right. So we lost him for a second. So hopefully we can get him back. This is what happens when we're live. It happens. Guys, as we wait, we do apologize.
He just texted me. He said the connection is lagging, and he said he's going to try on his phone to see if it works better.
There we go. Here we go. He's back. 100%. All right.
There we go.
Coach, how are you, man?
Good. How are you guys doing?
We are great. Glad to have you on. Glad you can go ahead and reconnect. So.
Yeah. My apologies. The Wi-Fi where I'm staying,
no worries,
isn't that great. So, but I'm really excited to be on with you guys, man, and thank you for all the USFL forward.
Yes, sir. And we do all this live, and so the technical difficulties comes with players. It even comes with coaches. So it's nice and it's a humbling experience for us. But I just wanted to go ahead and thank you, Coach. You're the first USFL coach that we have had. And it makes me happy that you're a Gamblers coach, because I am the Gamblers representative for the USFL network, and I'm super excited. And I think you are the perfect coach for us to have as our first coach, since you have a little bit of experience in the alt football scene. You played in the UFL with the Florida Tuskers for a hot second, and you've done your own YouTube podcast, Fullback U. So you already are used to this kind of setting. So I think it's perfect.
Yeah. Well, thank you, man. And, a lot of people don't know, but, the Florida Tuskers, my head coach was Jay Gruden, and defensive coordinator was some guy named Sean McVay. He had his first pro job. And so hopefully you guys will be looking at the next, look here 10 years down the road and say, man, yeah, we had that little JD guy back, and now he's coaching somebody. Winning the Super Bowl. So
I did not know that. You can't find.
It was an awesome experience, and I actually just.
Oh, he's cutting out a little bit.
Yeah, but I mean, Sean McVay and wow. JD, are you still with us? I don't see it being 10 years down the road either. We can hear you now, yeah.
I think there's just a little bit of a lag, which we have experienced before, and we overcame it pretty well. So hopefully it goes well now.
Oh, let's see. Let me go ahead and bring him on once again.
Are we good now?
Now it looks great.
Wow,
Okay.
I think
yeah, we're great. We're perfect now.
I'm gonna just do it from my phone. Then the fans deserve better.
All right, beautiful.
Perfectly fine.
Now we heard Sean McVay, some pretty big names. We couldn't catch the whole gist of it just because of the reception part.
Yeah. Well, like I said, the UFL, my head coach was Jay Gruden. Sean McVay got his first pro job with us, and so I'm actually the same age as him. I found that out just by coaching with him. But I was talking to the coaches, and I, my coaching, just not so much tree that I've worked with, but that I've played for. I'm excited to work for Kevin Sumlin. I mentioned Jay Gruden and Sean McVay, but I was a Bob Stoops guy. Coming out of high school and got to play for Lovie Smith in the pros. Ron Rivera was there, played for John Gruden in Tampa. Raheem Morris was there. Steve Wilkes was in Chicago with us. These are all guys with head coaching experience. Cincinnati, I went to Marvin Lewis. We had Mike Zimmer as our defensive coordinator. I've just been blessed to be around coaches, but I tell you what, the Houston Gamblers have an elite coach, and I'm excited to work with him. It's a guy that I hold in really the highest regard. Played for him for 3 years in college, and I'm excited. I can't tell you guys how excited I am.
No, we are too, absolutely. And you had mentioned too, before you had cut out just a little bit, maybe 10 years down the road, we may have that little JD guy, that we had on before, but I don't see it being 10 years. I see it with the experience and the background that you have. I don't think it's going to take you 10 years if that's your goal to get to the NFL.
Thank you. I'm down here coaching running backs, and I've really prided myself on having been around good ones. The three that I have right now with Dalen Dawkins, Mark Thompson, and Debwa Whaley. I got my top three guys. I've got Thunder, Lightning, and Beast Mode. So Gambler fans are going to be super excited, and for those guys that all you need to know is, I got to block 2 years for Adrian Peterson. I got to block for Quentin Griffin. Got to block, rest in peace, for Cedric Benson, Thomas Jones, Cadillac Williams. You name it. So Cedric was also in Cincinnati with me. Dominic Rhodes, Tatum Bell. So I've been around a lot of great running backs, man. And these three are definitely they're going to leave their mark on football.
Absolutely.
You've been around just an immense amount of impressive names.
Yeah.
Not to say you aren't impressive, but that's just like a huge list that you threw at me, and I'm kind of in awe. And I'm very glad that you brought up the Florida Tuskers, because you can't find anything about it on Google. So the fact that you gave us that nugget, like, I'm gonna go update the Wikipedia page right now. That's super cool.
Yeah.
But you mentioned the elite coach in Kevin Sumlin, and he hired you on the Gamblers. And now that we saw when you posted that you had been hired, and that's actually the first night that I reached out to you. Was that when it happened, or had the deal been in the making working up to that?
Well, it contracts are contracts, and those whole deals with coaching are what they are. But what I can say is that Sumlin was always one of my favorite coaches, and probably my favorite. And I think I was one of his favorite players. And when the opportunity arose, there was no hesitation on my part. And I think just everybody needs to understand, for one, there's not many coaches out there that can say that they beat Alabama and Oklahoma in the same football season. There's just not many. Those are two elite programs. He's an elite coach. I realized that he's been other places. He started getting Houston back and took Texas A&M to a historic season. Had a Heisman winner there. Had a handful of starting quarterbacks in the NFL. Kyler Murray, Tannehill, Johnny Manziel at the time. There's certain things. I think the best thing I could say about Kevin Sumlin is you need to look at the coaches that want to work with him. These are guys that he has a variety of guys. We have a first-round draft pick in Ty Warren, who just finished playing. We've got an offensive line coach that came out of retirement to coach with him in Gordon Shaw. David Beatty, who's been a Power 5 head coach at Kansas. You really got to look at who wants to work for him. And I can't really tell you guys how excited and how honored I am to be one of those names that gets to come to work with him every day.
Well, he gave you that opportunity and you came here. People who don't specifically know you don't know that you have coached junior high, high school, at the college level. And now, did it just feel like it was the natural succession, a natural jump to move into the professional coaching experience?
It's funny. I don't know if you want to call it funny, but almost exactly a year ago, I was teaching 7th grade math. I was I was teaching 7th grade math, 8th grade pre-algebra. I was coaching my son's 6th grade football team, coaching 7th grade football, 8th grade football, basketball, track. I went and volunteered at a D2. I felt like I was a college coach. I had previously worked at a high school. I went and volunteered at a Division II school for about 7 months, and was able to get a job at another Division II. Shout out to UCO and Edmond and ECU and Ada, 2 great staffs down there. Used to be a great staff at UCO. They got a new staff now, so hopefully wish them the best. But man, it was a transition where not many people get to play pro. And I realized that all these names that I rattled out for you guys, they meant something to me, but it also put me in a position to where when I was ready to coach, these other coaches realized who I was and realized what I had done. Somebody said, if you can handle middle school, you can handle anything. That's the damn truth. Let me tell you.
That's my wife commenting.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. So sorry, I didn't mean to. I usually
No,
don't
no
read
worries.
too many comments, but she's right.
She's
Dude,
done it, so yeah.
And I will tell you this much, and I would highly recommend it, because not only did it teach me about becoming a better man and a better teacher, but teaching 7th grade math made me such a better football coach. That's going to sound weird, but the organization, the getting kids to buy in, getting kids to understand things, saying things over and over again, and sometimes losing hope, fighting off losing hope. It really did teach me so many lessons, and I'm just blessed. And again, it's funny, if I ever get down, or if I ever get stressed, I'll just think, man, a year ago, I was just sitting around some musty kids, no offense, but they're in that puberty stage, and deodorant's nowhere to be found. And so it was an awesome point in my life, but being where I am now, and not having to chase kids around school, whether it be college, whether it be slope intercept form, whatever, it feels natural. And the other deal too is I think, I don't talk much. I should tell you guys, maybe, I don't know, we may be breaking news here, but they're doing like a Hard Knocks type reality show here. Okay. So you're going to get like an in-depth look. Well, I got cut on Hard Knocks. Like, I was one of the, I get a lot of people like, oh man, they did you so wrong on Hard Knocks, and I was so sad for you. And it's like, well, they could have just cut me and not shown anything. So I got cut like 5 or 6 times in the NFL. So it is what it is. And I'm excited just to help young adults who were in my position, who were me, who don't need to make the same mistakes I did, who hopefully can share the successes that I had. And I'm excited that it's on a different level than junior high. No disrespect to anybody at Moore West Junior High, but I'm excited to be a gambler.
Well, first off, definitely breaking news, so we appreciate that. We're definitely going to be retweeting that like crazy, because you did break it here for us. So much appreciated. That's why we love going live too. So
yes.
So Ace, I don't know exactly where we left off. There was a lot in the middle there. So
it was actually your next question,
which was
the story behind.
The story behind. I am lost
because
we have it mixed up here.
All right. So JD, what is the story behind your hiring with the Gamblers? Like, from going to middle school to Kevin Sumlin reaching out, you reaching out to him. What's the story behind it and you getting hired?
Well, again, going to those D2s really helped me, man. And I don't know that a lot of people understand. Division I football gets a lot of credit. They get a ton of credit, and there's a ton of money around there. They get a ton of attention. At Division IIs, you got to humble yourself. I've taken out trash. I've hung banners. I've done, you have to do the odd jobs, because you're everything but a strength coach, and you have to help out the strength coach. You're part-time trainer for these guys, part-time psychiatrist, part-time, full-time coach. So it's I think my coaches saw that, and they keep. I'm the type of guy that keeps close tabs on my coaches and people who are close to me, and I mentioned so many of those coaches that had a positive effect on me, and someone's one of those guys. Man, we always kept in touch, no matter where I was, no matter where he was. We've always had a great relationship. My family loves him to death. I'll tell you one story. My family holds someone in the highest regard. I lost my mom to cancer when I was in college, and you would not believe how many times he came up to the hospital just to visit me and visit her. And to a family, that means a lot, and that's bigger than football. And so, there's not much that somebody could do to break our trust, because we think of them as family, and that goes for a lot of my coaches. That Brent Venables, who's now at OU, Mike Stoops, who left OU, is now at Kentucky. Jonathan Hayes, who left OU, was at the Cincinnati Bengals forever. Bob Stoops, some of my high school coaches, Gary Rose, Tex Rollins. It's been a wild ride for me. But I going back to your point, I think that Kevin Sumlin knows what kind of coach I can be. He knows that I'm at a time where I can definitely mold young men, and I can be a benefit to him and his staff, and that means it's different when you're a player. When you're a player and you're out there making plays, and you're doing what you've done all your life. That's one thing. But I saw an interview with Coach Sumlin the other day, and he was just talking about how good I've been, and how awesome I'd done with electronics and helping them keep in touch, and doing everything through Zoom and technology wise. And impressing somebody as a player is one thing, but impressing them as a coach is totally different. And it's something that I'm blessed, man. I'm a hardworking guy, but I pride myself on being a tough guy, being an old school fullback, even though we're damn near going extinct. But compliments like that, it's hard not to not want to tear up and stuff like that. So it's a blessing, man, and just this opportunity that he's given me to coach guys and hopefully give you guys the behind the scenes look is once in a lifetime, and I'm cherishing it.
Well, we're glad you're cherishing it, and we're glad that you're here with us. And most OU fans, all the diehard OU fans, they're going to know who you are. But some fans, you're a new face. And so I'd like to take a little time and get into, just the background and let them know who JD Runnels is. And so in high school, you won 3 state titles with Coach Carl Albert. What kind of input did he have on you as both a player back then and a coach now?
Carl Albert's my school. That's where this Carl Albert Titans right here. Sorry, let me make sure.
Man.
Carl Albert's the school. Gary Rose was our head coach. It's all good. Little old Oklahoma. We do what we do, but Gary Rose was a man of faith, and he was awesome to me. And I got to tell this story for a lot of people who don't know. So Coach Sumlin recruited me out of high school to Texas A&M. So my only offer that I had through all my senior year, the whole year, was Texas A&M. A&M came to my school. It's a 7-hour drive. It's about 7 hours. You go 4 hours down 35, 3 hours down 30. 4 hours down 35, 3 hours down 45. 45 takes you towards Houston down to A&M. They came to my school damn near every day in the off season, every day. Sumlin or JB Grimes, and finally, I made it through high school. We actually the 3 state championships we won were our 3rd, 4th, and 5th in a row at Carl Albert. Shout out to them. I went through my whole senior year with just one offer. I ended up committing to Texas A&M because that was my only scholarship that I had. Well, Gary Rose, about a week later, calls OU and OSU and Kansas State. And let me backtrack a little bit. Through the middle of my senior year, I mostly played tight end and defensive end. Well, back then there was a lot of wishbone triple option teams, but they would split people out, and the third receiver became for our defense made us vulnerable. So my coach got this wild idea to move my 235-pound self back to safety, free safety. Well, we played Booker T High School, which Booker T's produced more NFL draft picks than anybody in Oklahoma. Robert Meacham, Felix Jones, y'all may know some of those names. Well, I had a really, really big hit in that game. Like, I mean, annihilate this kid. He ended up coming to OU as well, but he runs a post route right to me, and I get a 20-yard head start and just, wow, knock him out, knock one of my teammates out. Well, Coach Rose shows that video to OU, OSU, and OU, OSU, and Kansas State. Well, I'm not thinking anything of it, but the next day, I get a phone call from Les Miles, Bob Stoops, and Bill Snyder, and they all three offer me a scholarship. So
Wow.
I was like, man, I got to go home and reevaluate some things. So again, it was just one of those things where I didn't really even want to move to free safety because I felt like I was vulnerable, and I felt like I was, I don't know. It wasn't a comfortable move for me, but something told me to trust Coach Rose. I did that. It ended up being the most beneficial thing for my career. It ended up helping me in ways I never imagined it would. And I went home. My mother, I was really close to my mom. I'm mama's boy. I mentioned that I lost her to cancer, but I ended up staying closer to her. I had to call Texas A&M and decommit. It was one of the saddest days. It was one of the hardest phone calls I've ever made. Me and Sammy laugh about it all the time, but I did that, and I went to OU for a year. And funny story, but Texas A&M, we were number one in the country that year. We went down to College Station and lost. Well, then we came back the following year. I lost my position coach, went to the Cincinnati Bengals. Kevin Sumlin comes in and now is my position coach, and we beat A&M 77-0, scored 77 and 3/4. But that's neither here nor there. I think I made the right decision. And for those that don't know me, as far as running back coach, man, you ain't gonna find a harder worker, and you're not gonna find somebody that's gonna invest more time, more energy, more love, more knowledge, more relationships into these guys. I mentioned getting, everybody wants to talk about, and rightfully so, getting a block for Adrian Peterson's a big deal. I mean, when you're on the field with that dude, you know what greatness is like. When you shake his freaking hand, you know what greatness is like. When you practice, work out, lift, study next to Adrian Peterson, you know what greatness is like. And so my thing is every day I'm going to take that same motto and I want to, he's going to be Hall of Fame player, and my career may not have panned out the way it is, but that doesn't mean I can't make the Hall of Fame as a coach. And so that's my goal, and we're going to rock with it.
I'm kind of ashamed. I'm a diehard Minnesota Vikings fan, and I didn't even have a question about Adrian Peterson in here. So
well, give me one.
You
What's the question?
Well, you answered it.
What was it?
I didn't have one. I honestly just literally did not have one, and I'm kind of ashamed.
I got you.
But you answered it. Everybody asked about the handshake, and I always wondered, is that just kind of an urban myth?
That stuff is vice grips, bro. It's hard to explain.
Says.
If you feel it, if you felt it, you feel it. And I look at him like, don't you ever do that? And so we have our own handshake now, and it avoids the normal that feel.
No grasping. You're like,
yes,
we're good. We don't need that. We're cooler than that.
Yep. Yeah, he's the man.
So, Coach, I want to go ahead and bring it back to little JD. You mentioned you started playing around 4 or 5 years old. What made you fall in love with football at such a young age?
Man, my mom tells the story. I was so hyper. At 4 years old, before I started school, she had to get me out of the house. I grew up on the east side of Oklahoma City. She threw me out there with the T-Birds football team. It was a great bunch of guys. There ended up being a few pair of brothers that ended up signing to OSU later on. We became great friends. Another guy played basketball for down here at UAB, actually, where I'm at in Birmingham. So I've got a connection down here on all the food spots and where I need to go eat. So yeah, man, it football became a somewhat of a passion. I actually love basketball a little bit more, but I mentioned, that time where I was going to A&M in my junior year. I put on like 40 or 50 pounds between my sophomore and junior year. So my free throws went from Steph Curry to Shaq, and it just was not, it was not a good combination. So yeah, it led me to, and I don't know many 230-pound point guards in the NBA, but that is what it is. And but my brother, I got to give my brother a shout out. He's 10 years older than me. He's a basketball coach in Oklahoma.
Brother Lenny.
Yeah, Lenny.
Yeah.
So appreciate you knowing that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they made the state finals this year. Got the silver ball. He won the gold ball last year in 6A. He's had a very good 4-year run. The year before, we believe, was COVID, and then the year before that, they lost to the same team in the state finals. So to me, he's the best coach in high school, and to me in America when you look at where he's at and what he's doing. And so he was a very, very big influence. My sister, they're both teachers, hence the 7th grade math. I come from a family of teachers, just a family of hard work, and a family that loves sports. My dad played college baseball at an HBCU in Oklahoma at Langston. So I football was just kind of, I tell the story a lot, but my brother being 10 years older, he had 4 friends. 3 of them went to Wyoming and played for Sumlin when Sumlin was at Wyoming. But they used to kill me in the front yard, man. I mean, it was bad when they were 17 years old and I was 7. It was just bad. But by the time I got to high school, man, I was taking my anger out on everybody else. And so it ended up working out. And I'm thankful. I'm glad that the sport molded me into what it is. And now I've got a 13-year-old son who's starting to get bigger, and he's starting to like football, and hopefully he'll hit somebody like I did, but no pressure there. And I'm just enjoying giving back to the game, man. The game's given me so much. I mentioned the coaches and players that I've been around, and that's just a short list. I just do I didn't even mention the special teams coaches that I was around in the NFL. Dave Tobe was at Chicago. He's the special teams coach for the Kansas City Chiefs now. He's had Tyreek Hill and Devin Hester. Darren Simmons, who was the special teams coach of the Cincinnati Bengals, still there, just finished the Super Bowl. Rich Bisaccia, you heard that name? It was my special teams coach in Tampa.
Insane.
Yeah, it goes on and on. And just like I said, it was a blessing. And there's other names that people may not know. Jim Anderson, who was in Cincinnati, was there for like 35 years. But everybody knows JA and in pro ball. So man, it's a blessing, and I just hope to one day be thought of as one of those guys, be looked at as like one of those guys, and to be a legend like them.
Definitely. Now, just to piggyback just a little bit, you mentioned your brother Lenny, and he actually, you could have gone a different route, back in those days. Didn't he try to talk you into playing basketball instead?
He did,
Yeah.
and I probably could have. The AAU team and the year I came out of high school it's arguably one of the best classes in Oklahoma history. Kalin Azubuike went to Kentucky and played for the Golden State Warriors. Sheldon Williams went top 5, went to Duke. His jersey's retired, went top 5 out of Duke. D'Angelo Alexander played at OU. Kevin Bookout played at OU. We had another guy go to K-State, another guy go to Georgia. My buddy went to UAB. And those things aren't normal in Oklahoma. Oklahoma, you usually have 1 or 2 guys, maybe 3, and a lot of those guys were 6'7" or taller. I was a beast with the basketball, man. I can't lie. I got pulled up to varsity as a freshman, played in 2 games there, averaged 15 points a game as a junior, averaged 18 points a game 15 as a sophomore, 18 as a junior. And then put it down for football my senior year, and I think a lot of it was just because the basketball had turned into an anvil on me. It was so hard to play. It would really hurt my heart, but he did, man. I went to basketball camp every year. I went to open gym everywhere. I went to every college camp, every this, every that. One of my highlights of my career was playing with that AAU team, and looking up in the stands, and Bill Self, Kelvin Sampson, Eddie Sutton, Roy Williams are all up there. And I know all eyes have went from all these guys that are going to all these other places to who's that bowling ball out there that, that nobody can steal the ball from and just keeps attacking. But it was just at that point where I had to make my mind up, and, already having a scholarship in football was invaluable. I would like to someday maybe sit down and if there was a crystal ball, wonder what it would be like, or just reminisce. But I think I made the right decision. It was a good run, but again, football opened some doors and got me a chance to, I got to play at Alabama. I got to play in 3 state championships in high school, 2 national championships in college, got to suit up for a Super Bowl, Rose Bowl, played in the Holiday Bowl, caught a touchdown there. Got to see some amazing stadiums, got to meet some amazing people, and I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing to hear that you were a 2-sport athlete and you honestly just had the choice between the two. But I am very glad that you chose football.
Thank you.
It got you here, but it also got you to the NFL, where you like you said, you suited out for a Super Bowl. You played for the Bears, the Buccaneers, and the Bengals, and you were on Hard Knocks, and they did do you a little dirty. You brought it up earlier when you gave us our breaking news. But something very positive that I saw in that episode was that the Bengals running back coach, Jim Anderson, said JD is a pit bull kind of guy with his determination. And over here on the USFL network, we absolutely love pit bulls. I got one chewing on a toy behind me right now.
My man, I love it.
And I just wondered, that kind of determination, that mindset that you have, is that one of the big driving factors that has gotten you to where you are today?
I got to stop you. I was a 3-sport athlete. I was an all-state shot putter as well. I just love to compete. And so, but yeah, it was just all those things, man. I realized what a state ring was. I realized what a legacy was early on. And, I mentioned some of my brother's friends, and I saw how much losing hurt them. And I think that really, really inspired me not to want to lose. And, JA, and I realized what Cincinnati had to do, and, it sucked. The Hard Knocks thing, as hard as it was on me and as hard as it is to watch, I mean, you just get to see, like, okay, JD's battling for a spot, but we have 2 tight ends get hurt, and so we clearly have to bring in a tight end. So it doesn't really matter how good JD's doing. Like, it just doesn't matter. I mean, he could be doing he could be doing whatever he wants, and it wasn't going to work out. I appreciate the compliment from him. I really did. And, I think a lot of that was just because, some of the stuff you didn't get to see. And I think that's hopefully the things that are going to make me a great coach. And that's, JA, when he was in his office, I was in his office. When the special teams coach was there, I was there. I was the first one in. I was the last one out. You weren't going to sneak something by me. You weren't going to quiz me during meetings and get something wrong. I was going to know A to Z what everybody had to do, front to back, left to right. And I think coaches respect that. And there's a reason somebody hired me, and there's a reason that all those coaches still talk to me, whether they cut me, whether they played me, whatever. I think there's a reason that I was able to gravitate towards them and basically be one of them.
Yeah, you had mentioned that. I'm sorry, Ace, go ahead.
You're good.
All right. So, reading, doing the research as I was, you did mention something about them not being there 24/7. With the Hard Knocks, they only showed what they wanted, people to see and things like that, or what the coaches wanted to see. So it was kind of a little biased. So I understand where you were coming from. Reading the article and doing the research. You did mention that you don't watch it anymore. Is that still the case?
Very much so. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not tuning in. No free ratings after you cut me at 4:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
So. What about the new USFL Hard Knocks?
Depends on if they want to interview me or not. And, me being a guy, I joke about it, but, there wasn't a day where I went in the NFL facility. Everybody sees the Jamal Adams clip where his key doesn't work and things like, when he walks up to the Jets facility and it doesn't work. Like, that's how I felt every day. Like, going into the facilities, there wasn't a day where I was like, oh man, my job's secure. I'm good to go. I mean, even the day I made the team my rookie year, it was like the most nervous I've ever been in my entire life. Like just wondering if my phone's going to ring or wondering what's going on. And finally, nobody called me. So by noon, I was like, well, I guess I made the team, you know? Yeah, it's just, you know, the other deal too is I know, knowing football and some of the things that I've said, you know, there were other plays. They showed me making a nice catch, and that's great. But dude, I had some big hits that surely they're on camera somewhere, and that's the ones I wanted to see. They showed me, you know, missing a play or whatnot. Why don't you show those? So, but again, the other deal is, you know, whatever they show here, I'm going to be happy to help with. Hopefully, they show my deal too is I want them to show my running backs. You know, I want them to talk to them about how much I'm coaching them up, hopefully about how much they love playing for me, how much they are learning, how much they enjoy coming in every day. That's the things that I want them to see. I want them to see the real side. I can brag on myself all day, but, you know, I think the what is going to make me a great coach is by my players talking about me.
I agree. And, you know, we debated on whether or not we bring up the Hard Knocks, because honestly, I think the dirtiest thing they did was the 5:30 a.m. wake up. That was dirty. I didn't like that at all. But
it is what it is. I mean, they got to get you out before the day starts, you know?
Yeah. And usually when we bring up a more sore topic like that, we then lead it into a reoccurring segment that we have, which was developed by Webb, who is our Breakers representative. And it's called Webb's Rapid Incoming Breakdown. Okay. And so I'm just going to ask you 4 questions, quick answers, first thing that comes to your head, and you just answer them truthfully. They're not necessarily football.
Okay.
All right. Question 1. It is football. With extensive football career, who is the greatest teammate you've ever had?
Ooh, the greatest teammate. Probably Quentin Griffin. Quentin Griffin, man. Right. Great person. Awesome dude. Carson Palmer is up there too. Carson Palmer was a great teammate. Jeff Garcia, the top 3.
Oh, we got a top 3.
There we go. I like that.
Top 3. I love it. All right. Question number 2.
Brian Greasy too. Sorry. Keep going.
Top 4.
Top 4.
No, you're killing the questions already, and we're only on 1.
Yeah.
Question 2. Biggest fear.
Oh, probably heights.
Man.
Right. Yeah, I'm not. Oh man. I mean, I like high dives and stuff. That's cool, but you know, Oklahoma, we don't have like oceans or anything, so there's a lot of lakes. And you know, some of my friends are always, hey, let's go jump off. And I was like, oh, what? Like, so anything over like 20 feet, I'm kind of out on that.
All right, so no skydiving with Coach Runnels coming up.
No. Okay. Great call. No, you ain't gonna see me skydiving.
Question 3, a top 3 movies of all time for you.
That's tough. Man, I'm an old school guy. Yeah, Remember the Titans got to be one. Shout out to, you know, my high school. There's a legendary story behind that. I think Forrest Gump was a great movie. I'm down here in Alabama. You know, dude was legendary with that. Gosh, let me think. Oh, I'd probably have to go something Eddie Murphy, maybe like Boomerang or something, man. That was a hilarious movie, I thought. So something Eddie Murphy.
Look at that. He brings a football movie, ties in Alabama, and an Eddie Murphy deep cut. You are killing these questions, Coach.
Yeah, I'm trying.
All right. And number 4, last question on the rapid incoming breakdown. What's your favorite holiday?
I'm a Christmas guy. You know, I get new clothes and shoes every Christmas. I get to spoil my kids. I got a 4-month-old little girl, and then I've got a 13-year-old boy, and you know, they're all, you know, it's I'm at the point, you know, I shouldn't even say Christmas because I'm getting dad gifts now. So, you know, it really is ties and keychains, and it's embarrassing.
I'm the same age as you, so I get you. I understand.
Yeah, I bring it up every year. It's like, oh, would you give me a wallet? You know, okay, so
I got my dad a wallet last year.
Oh man,
that's awesome.
Well, thank you for playing our recurring segment, Coach, with the rapid incoming breakdown. But you know, we are the USFL network, and now we're just going to dive right into the USFL questions.
For sure.
So how does it feel being in Birmingham with practice with the players so close?
I'm excited. They're supposed to get here tomorrow. Some of them are getting here today. And let me tell you, man, there's some big dudes showing up. Big dudes. I'm like, you want to get on the elevator? No offense, bro, but you might pass the weight limit if we like, whoa. And we got some huge dudes. So I'm really excited. It is definitely pro football for sure. I'm excited. I'm excited to coach football. I told you guys where I was at a year ago coaching football with 35 seventh graders. I was, I was volunteering at 1D2. This is how bad I wanted to coach football. I was driving 100 miles one way down to my D2 job in Ada. And so, for me, this is easy. This is going to be easy, and it's going to be super fun. And I got to bring up the running backs I've got, man. You guys, for the fans out there, check out Dalen Dawkins' film. Check out Mark Thompson's film. Check out Devwa Whaley's film. When you see those three guys, just remember who picked them, and you will be. If you're not impressed, I expect your name. I expect to know you by like initials, AD or something like that. Okay, so, but I promise you're going to be impressed if you check those guys out.
Well, I'm glad you specified any fans out there, because people got to know I have watched all the tape on those three guys.
What do you think about them?
Dude, I love them. I think some teams, like when you look at the Birmingham Stallions, I think that they got three very similar running backs. Whereas we, like you said earlier, we got Thunder, Lightning, and Beast Mode. They all bring something different to the table. And I really love that. Dalen Dawkins has fantastic NFL film, actually. But my favorite that I've been looking at is Mark Thompson. I think he's so incredibly versatile and strong. And I'm excited to see what he can do.
No doubt. They're all excited. They're all hungry. And, what I think Gamblers fans need to hear is they all get along. I've been in some running back rooms where you're like, oh man, I got to be this guy's backup. Yeah, you do, because he's going to have a gold jacket in Canton before long. So, but no, they get along great. They're going to be a good group to coach. So I'm excited about it.
So you kind of hinted at it there, and one of our guys on the network web I brought up earlier with his segment, he commented, he can't be here right now. He said, "How much involvement did you have in drafting the Gamblers running back?"
I mean, I think a lot. Obviously, it was all someone's call, but he's how do I say this? I brought him to the table. He told me good job and solidified it. And what was interesting to me was I didn't tell many people who was I've been evaluating for, I've been in college. And so all I did was look at huddles all day long of finding kids from way out in the middle of Oklahoma, wherever. So all I would do is evaluate. Well, when I saw those three guys, I'm like, honestly, I cut their film off in like 30 seconds. I'm like, amazing. So, and I didn't really even think anything of it, but after we drafted each guy, and I think maybe because I was I don't want to say a young coach, a new coach to pro, some of the coaches were like, hey, can you send us some of your running backs highlights? And I think the other part of it was they were, just wanted to see our running backs, because running backs can make a difference in the game. And I sent them their videos, and we were doing a Zoom call while the draft was going, and I started hearing, ooh, whoa, oh, damn, oh, snap, and I'm like, oh, y'all like him, huh? And they're like, yeah. So, and then the other deal is kind of doing background checks on these guys. And when you hear Mike Vrabel say, yeah, Dalen Dawkins would be one of my starting running backs if we don't have some guy named Derrick Henry, I mean, what do you need to hear? And when you see Mark Thompson running up and down the field on SEC and Devwa, up against SEC defenses, what do you need to see? And again, I really hope that these camera crews can get around them and mic them up, because they're fun. They're awesome. We've done a bunch of Zooms. We've talked a bunch of football. They're super great personalities. I almost feel like a big brother to them, because I'm not too far removed from playing. So it's just, they're lovable people. They're people you can see yourself cheering for. They're not these guys that are just arrogant and out about themselves. They're totally business oriented. They're very, very professional. I'm glad they're gamblers.
No, I'm also very glad that you're gamblers, and it makes me happy, and I feel what is it? Not verified. There's a word for it, but I feel good that a lot of the points that I've made on our USFL network shows about the gamblers running backs, because I'm ride or die, you just made. So it makes me feel good that you said that.
My man, I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
But so what you're saying is that you have been a part of the selection process since the initial draft.
No doubt.
Awesome. Well, that's something that we didn't know as well.
Well,
but
it's a staff deal. Again, it's
yeah.
and you got to remember, a lot of these guys, Mark played at Florida. We have a couple of people on our staff from Florida State. So, I obviously am going to ask there. And, we've got, Ty Warren, who's played a bunch in the NFL. And, if any of those kids play, as soon as I saw about Dalen, I'm going to ask somebody in the NFL that knows Mike Vrabel, played with him, and that, Vrabel trusts. And that's what this coaching fraternity is, man. And don't get mad, I'm not cheating on the gamblers or anything, but, at dinner, got to sit with Bob Diaco, who I bumped into at Oklahoma while he was coaching outside linebackers there. And we know he's an Iowa guy. He knows a bunch of the same coaches that I hold in very high regard. Larry Fedora, I've gotten to meet. He was the coach at Oklahoma State back when I was playing. So me walking up, and I'm just a new bright-eyed coach, and Larry Fedora's like, "Is that JD Runnels from the fullback?" And I'm like, "Coach, what? No, dap me up," So it was awesome, and just getting to see, just people you made an impact on, and it's a cool fraternity, man. And I wish those coaches the best, just not against us.
Right.
I like that answer.
And Webb heard Fedora and just went insane at home right now. So
Breakers.
Breakers guy. He's a Breakers guy.
Another person in our network, her name is Kelly. She just texted me. The word I was looking for is vindicated. So
okay, I like it.
I feel vindicated
you,
by your comments.
Appreciate that. Man, I appreciate the work you guys do, man. It doesn't go unnoticed. And, honestly, this is probably going to be the only interview I do. So it means a lot to me that you guys would focus your time on some people that really love football.
No, and I think we do a great job as far as, just getting the players on here to get, the fans that don't know them, who, get a chance to meet them and know who they are. Come game day, they know who they're watching on Saturday, Sunday, whatever the case may be. And I think we've done a good job. And everyone that we've had on, every player that has said yes, we're so grateful. And they've been nothing but humble. We've been nothing but humble towards them as well, just for having them on our show. And it's just incredible feeling.
No doubt. And lastly, I don't know the details on a bunch of the stuff, the news that broke, but I will say, I'm kind of refreshed that the drama and entertainment won't be from cutting people.
Yes.
Hopefully we get to actually learn who these guys are and see them succeed and be the underdog story and those types of things. So hopefully we're not just waiting to see, oh man, let me wait till the end of the episode to see if JD gets cut. So yeah.
Hype, you have the next question.
Right. I'm so sorry. You were an NFL fullback, of course, obviously the host of the Fullback U. I'm not sure if you're still into that. Taking a look back, it looks like it's been a little while since you've done an episode. But are you all surprised that there isn't a fullback designated on the Gamblers?
Well, I have taken a break from the podcast, man. And it's nothing,
You're a busy man.
Well, that, and, the only thing fair, I think, to my running backs would be me being 100% in. Fullback U is a cool deal, and it's able to, talk about memories and talk about guys that played at OU and interview them about how they got there and funny stories and all that. But it can also wait, and this deal can't wait. And it's my dream, it's my passion. So whenever I put football down, which hopefully is 20, 30 years from now, I'm sure. I don't know if it'll be podcasting by then. It may be just teleporting and doing the interview.
There you go. Yeah.
But we'll figure it out. And then yes and no on the fullback. As much as I would love fullbacks to come back and be a part of a lot of offenses, they're just not. And, certain schools do well with them still. Wisconsin, Army, OU's done well. They've kind of moved towards an H-back. It's just not prevalent. You guys are fairly familiar with football, I'd imagine. And so 11 personnel, 12 personnel, using 1 or 2 tight ends, maybe even 3 certain times. Tight ends have kind of become the predominant blocker as far as skill position. And so we've got a great one in Julian Allen that I'm really excited to meet. So, hey, my big thing is hopefully he'll ask me, hey, man, aren't you that one guy? And can you show me something on how to, man, hey, we'll be knocking helmets off in no time. So, no, that's my thing. And, there's just, again, there's not many around, and I don't want to, talk too much about other people's players, but there were two fullbacks drafted, one from Wisconsin and one from K-State that I got to meet Winston Demel and talk to him, and he's a fantastic player. I mean, he's an old school fullback. He can do everything. I wanted to draft him, but it is what it is, and I wish that guy the best. So, like I said, fullback being the position it is, it's a grind, and so hopefully, those guys get their chance and make the most of it.
Yeah, we actually just spoke to one of the fullbacks drafted, Bobby Holly of the Stallions.
Louisiana Tech.
Yes, we talked to him a couple days ago.
I like his game too.
I love his game, and I almost wanted to tell him, like, hey, you should look into a trade with the Gamblers and get over there and work with Runnels. But I'm just over here on Twitter. So.
And that was a smart pick by them too, because he can long snap as well, and he plays real well at tight end, and so. Again, I'm an old school fullback, so I'm gonna focus on those guys. It ain't gonna take anything away from my evaluation of him. He blocks really well on the edge. He moves around well, catches the ball well. But it's a numbers game at this level, and it's as bad as it hurt for me to hear that as a player, especially on my way out, getting cut from 5 or 6 places. It really is. They ain't lying. So, best of luck to those guys.
I honestly thought Bobby Holly, watching videos of you and watching videos of him, a lot of similarities, two real old school smash mouth players. So
Definitely.
If only
I appreciate it.
He was on our team. But
no doubt.
Another question we had that I actually had, and I'm seeing in the comments, a lot of people are asking it. Is there a specific game on the schedule that you have circled that you're like, these are the guys I want to beat?
I wouldn't say a specific one. Honestly, the first one, Michigan, Jeff Fisher, what a legendary coach. And you want to start your year off with a W. Obviously, I mentioned Larry Fedora's team, and it's really weird as a player. You meeting guys, and you're like, oh yeah, we're gonna be cool and all, but I can't wait till we knock y'all out and blah 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 blah. But as a coach, it's more about the preparation and not even about the game, and so you just really want to see them do well. Like I said, just not against us. And so I just have to say game one. And then when we play the Stallions of Birmingham, I'm sure they'll have some home field advantage. So, I'm excited. And then next year, man, when we get to go back to our respective cities, I'm excited. I love Houston. I love Texas. All my favorite rappers are from Houston. Let me tell you, Bun B, Slim Thug, Paul Wall, Scarface, Lil Flip.
Wow. There we go.
All Houston. I was screwed up. I went to OU, and like half of our team was from Texas, and I was like, came in like, what is screw music, and then left like, Auden came down, dog, like doing all that. So I really love Houston, and so hopefully when we get back there, we can really rock it out with the Gamblers.
I'm excited to get you back here in my home state. But I actually stole Hype's question. So I do want to ask the next one about the scrimmage.
The scrimmage, where are we at? I'm so sorry. It was all you, so just go for it.
All right.
Go for it, man.
We had Donald Payne Jr., the interior linebacker who the Gamblers drafted. We had him on, I think, about 2 weeks ago now. And he had brought up that on the schedule, there was a scrimmage April 7th against another USFL team. But we haven't really heard anything else about it. Can you confirm that, verify it, what team we might be playing?
I can verify there will be a scrimmage. How's that sound? No. All
right, I'll take it.
The details, I'm just kind of living one day at a time, and I got to get my running backs here and keep them healthy, and that's my main focus. And,
you broke enough news for us.
Yes, so whoever we scrimmage, hopefully they have me mic'd up, so you can, get to hear the real Coach JD and see how I school these guys up and keep them ready to go. And I really think it'll be cool for my son that he's like I said, starting to get into football a lot. And it's gonna be tough, man. That's the tough part of coaching is missing out on your kids. And I think the spring league is I don't want to say any time's a good time to be away from your kids, but my son's running track now, so we're trying to trim up the gut that I passed down to him. So I'm really proud of him for that. And then hopefully I won't have to miss any of his football games and can make those this fall. So hopefully he gets to hear me mic'd up and turn on NBC and Fox and see his dad on his dad's ugly mug up there and coaching these guys up.
Well, we definitely look forward to it.
Oh, yeah.
And, anytime that we get to see someone that we've had on the show on TV, we're going to lose our minds. So we are super excited to see you mic'd up, yelling at the running backs, and just seeing everything that's going on behind the scenes that technically we can't get right now because there's a lot of hush hush. But,
No doubt.
These interviews and everything, they are a platform. And we like to give the players and now coaches a platform to get their messages out there, whether it be to fans, whether it be to aspiring coaches, whether it be to aspiring players. And we're going to give you a second to talk about whatever you would like to talk about. But first, I wanted to hit on, you suffer from vitiligo. I believe I said that right.
Vitiligo.
And
yeah, you're good.
Yes. And you've spoken about it on the news. You've spoken about it a lot. And it's something that you've shown tremendous confidence through your entire career, your entire life. And it has never seemed to slow you down or anything. And so I was wondering, what is your message out there to, kids, to young adults, to athletes, to anybody who has something that makes them feel different, that they're self-conscious about? What is your message to them?
Well, for me, it's a little different. My dad had vitiligo, and it came and went. It's weird. Like he had it really, really bad when he was about my age. I'm 37 now, and now you can't see it at all. Like it totally went away. So it's kind of weird. For me, I didn't have it until I was like 17 or 18 years old. I had a few little spots over my eyes, nothing crazy. And then before long, it just like took over everywhere. My thing for kids is and the younger they are, most times they don't understand it. But the interesting thing is when you run into somebody that has it, it's like, oh my gosh, like, are we long lost family? Like, holy cow. So, there's quite a few people out there that deal with it. And, other thing I would just tell people is just be yourself. You got to always be you and be comfortable in who you are. I've made a living without a helmet on, and I think a lot of people don't know who football players are because we do wear a helmet, and so I think the vitiligo kind of helps me stick out at certain times. They're like, oh yeah, I definitely know you. So I think there's something to be said about being comfortable in your skin and being who you are. It's amazing the phrase "being comfortable in your skin" coming from a guy that has vitiligo. But that's truly what it is. There's been a lot of people that are like, after knowing me for 2-3 days, maybe a week, they'll sit there and say something about it, and they'll be like, I totally forgot you have that, or I totally forgot that you even, I don't even recognize it anymore on you. And it is what it is. I hope the parents out there, I get a lot of kids that stare, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like it's like they're burning a hole through you. But then you feel bad because you're like, gosh, that kid can't be but 3 or 4 years old. And they're just like, that guy's got to be a monster somehow. Like, so it's just like, can you please talk to your kid? Tell him I'm not a monster. Like, but again, those are just things that are part of life. And my mom used to always say, man, if it doesn't kill you, it's going to make you stronger. And I totally believe that. And we're just going to rock with it, man. We're just going to keep rocking and stay positive, and something good's going to come out of it.
Well, that was a beautiful message. And,
great message.
I love that you are preaching about spreading information on it so that people do understand it. And that when you do see someone who has it, it's not a shock and it's just another human being. And I love that. But we do like to give time at the end, whatever messages you want to give out about football, about life, anything. This is your platform. It's your time. Say what you want.
Well, like I said, man, I'm just me. I'm not anybody with any particular motives, or I'm very middle of the road. I don't get political. I don't get too very. I'm a mixed race guy. I try not to get racial, just because I do have family. My mom's white, my dad's black. I just kind of stay in my lane, and I just want to coach football. I love football. I love the game. I love preparing for it. I love people that love football. And I hope everybody gravitates towards this USFL gig, man, because, I think the one thing I can say is the NFL truly does stand for not for long. You're talking to a guy that signed with 3 different teams, 5 different times. I don't even know how many got cut, 6 different times. Lost count of getting cut and signing and working out and signing and practice squad and active. And it's a lot, and it was a lot on my family. It was a lot on my kid, and I want to be I look at now as using this game to be a better man, to be a better father, to be a better whatever I am to my lady. Sometimes she loves me, sometimes she's I
Feel
left
that.
her at home with a 4-month-old. I can't even lie and act like I'm a bad dad right now. So but no, we did daddy daycare for 4 straight months. I will say that, Brooke. Okay.
Eddie Murphy.
So yes,
There's a movie right there.
Another Eddie Murphy cut.
All right. Hopefully she don't put me on Hard Knocks. So, but no, I'm gonna just use this game and not let it use me, and I'm gonna keep using it to make me better. And I hope a lot of people do that. And like I said, I hope they gravitate toward the USFL. They need to listen to you guys' show. They need to hear people's story. I'm just one person, and there's going to be 45 guys here that show up tomorrow with a dream, and their dream, smoke. I don't know if you saw, there was a guy that did some research at Rain Hurdler. Shout out to him, and he's got way too much time on his hands, but that's my kind of guy. And he went through and did a graphic of like each team and who had played at what NFL teams. So shout out to him, because it showed like you can literally just see how much NFL experience is in this league, and they're guys that play in the NFL just don't grow on trees, and it's going to be a great league. There's great coaches behind it. I mentioned a few of them, but just I couldn't even begin to start describing all those guys, and I hope you guys can get as many of them on your show as you can, and spread their story, because they've got a bunch more than I do probably. But we're gonna rock this deal, man. The gamblers are. I'm getting text messages right now about our staff meetings tomorrow, and we're gonna rock. We're gonna get on, and I'm excited to play for Kevin, or to play. I'm excited to coach for Kevin Sumlin, man. I really am. I already played for him.
Throw the pads on,
I'm
Coach.
excited that he's you guys know about the spread offense. You guys know about the high scoring. You know about Texas football and his connections in H-Time, man, and all those things. So I love it. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you, Bobby Thompson, for all the comments that you've been leaving. I've been reading them, bro.
Oh, you can see them. We didn't know if you could see them or not.
Yeah,
so
I can see
thank
them.
you for letting us know.
No doubt.
I did not know.
We're trying out a new stream, so we weren't even sure. So appreciate
That's
it,
man. It really is. You guys got it going on here, man. So like I said, and if you need me to, I'll put in a good word for my running backs to get them on there. You'd be amazed how humble they are. One of them.
we would
let me
be
tell
humble.
you this. I was listening to a podcast, and again, I turned these guys' film off 30 seconds into it. I promise you I did. Like, there's no reason, once I see what I need to see for a guy that I've seen running backs like a lot. And I didn't even watch Mark Thompson's video. Didn't even watch it. Didn't watch it.
Really?
The 30 seconds is all I saw. Okay, I saw 2
No
plays.
need.
Turned it off. Okay, turned it off. Like, if you can think what you want to think about them, those were my top 3 guys. Well, Moose Johnson, the commissioner here, I heard him on a podcast, and somebody was asking him, who do you think the breakout offensive players were, and he had mentioned, they had already talked about the quarterbacks, but he thinks that Mark will be, the offensive MVP of this league, and just speaks to how the high caliber of play that he has. And you mentioned earlier, Ace, about Dalen's film, And then, Devois Power is just phenomenal. He's got a clip of him stiff arming Jamal Adams, who's one of the highest paid safety in the game. And there's some dudes. I'm excited to coach them. It's going to be hard for me to contain my energy.
Please don't.
Like, dude, yes, I'm loving life. I'm not teaching Y equals MX plus B to some 12 to 14-year-olds. No offense. But it's going to be a good deal.
Well, JD, I want to thank you so much for taking up, your valuable time, for coming on here and, giving us the interview, reaching back out to us and just, telling your stories and just spreading the positive messages you have been throughout as well. We're extremely grateful here at the USFL Network to have you on and to listen to what you've had to say. And we're excited to see you, throughout the season, what your future holds as far as your coaching goals are. We're just excited and we're extremely humble. Can't say it enough that you're on the show, and we thank you.
I appreciate it. Hey, man, one more thing. If y'all don't mind, I'll go ahead and book myself. We end the season July 3rd with the championship. We'll go ahead and I'll let y'all take July 4th off after the Gamblers win this all. With July 5th, we back at it. Sound good?
Absolutely.
I'm in.
He aces in all day.
I don't know Hype's schedule, but mine is now clear.
I'm good. It's I'm getting married the 23rd of July, so I'm good before then. So yeah, I'm good. Yeah, I'm good.
Awesome.
And I would absolutely love to talk to any of the running backs if they are interested at all. I know you guys are going to be very busy here in the next few weeks, but
no doubt. I'll see what I can do, man. Maybe I can just at least get them on for a little snippet or so. But my guess is we have a much better chance after all three of them have went for 200 yards rushing and 3 touchdowns in a game.
Let's go.
Can have them all on at once.
Yeah, hey, I'm with it. I'm with it.
Including yourself. Come back.
I'm with it. Let's do it.
Yeah. So we wanted to end this on a lighter note too. Ace, I don't know if you remember at the beginning before JD came on, but
yes,
do you remember you remember the clip?
Yeah, what was it? We wanted to end it with Go Raiders!
Go Raiders! Go Raiders!
I paid for this ticket. I can say what I want. Go Raiders!
Oh, you gotta let me. So I've got to end for the fans that don't know.
I cried.
We were playing Texas Tech my senior year, and we got cheated. Okay, they had Danny Amendola, and there was 2 4th down calls on the last. We score to take the lead. Adrian Peterson makes a legendary run. Stiff arms a dude, runs in. We freaking, Lubbock's a dust bowl. You go west till you smell it, south till you step in it from Oklahoma. We kick the ball out of bounds. They convert 2 4th down calls with no timeouts, and one of them is blatant cheating. It was a Danny Amendola catch. He catches it, gets knocked backwards. They mark the ball up. It is what it is. And then the touchdown was bad. And this is my senior year, and I'm used to, we had went Rose Bowl, lost 2 games, win a BCS game. We went national championship, lose to Nick Saban, national championship, lose to Pete Carroll. And now I'm sitting here 8-4, having just lost to freaking Mike Leach in Lubbock. And I'm just freaking pissed. I mean, I'm hurt. And I'm mad about those calls. Well, I go out to do this interview, and this dude is drunk and yelling loud.
It's amazing.
Loud.
He's not identified to this day.
Oh, I wish we could. I really wish we could. I have words for that dude. I could yell at him.
Anyone watching, you got to check that out. YouTube it. Just Go Raiders Go. Go Raiders Go, and it's right there. It's just classic. But your expression, you're looking up with that face like you want to kill him. At the same time, you're trying to stay, you're trying to stay focused, trying to stay, cool, calm, and collected. But it's like this, like, oh my God, we were waiting. I was waiting for it.
Oh, I loved that video. I was crying.
There was no YouTube back then. And so, I'm like, we did whatever that was as an interview. And I'm like, well, surely that's not going to be on TV. Like, it's not going to make the news or anything. No worries. Well, then we get back Monday, and there was a website, College Humor. You may remember it. And one of my coaches, Cale Gundy, comes in our room. He's like, JD, did you do an interview after me? And I'm like, oh God. And he's like, dude, there's like 150,000 hits on that thing like in a weekend. I was like, oh, this is terrible. They played it on the freaking radio in Lubbock.
Yeah.
People like in the radio interludes. Freaking Texas Tech, when they made the Final Four, tweeted that video. Like, it was like, this is never gonna end. It's
No.
never gonna end.
We
I
just
hope
brought
it
it back
never
up
does.
again. We just
Hope it
just
never ends.
resurrected it once again for you. So
No
I
doubt.
apologize.
Hey,
YouTube
you know
famous.
what? At least it's not Hard Knocks. I tell people all the
Yeah,
time. I
no.
worked all my life, and my two biggest moments on TV are Hard Knocks and
They're
Go
awful.
Raiders. Like, it's
Go Raiders.
horrible. It's like, what in the world? Whose kind of karma is that?
We'd love to have that
no.
guy in this show.
Right. Yeah. That,
Like,
that
what
would be
was
awesome.
wrong with
Let me
you?
know what he was drinking that day, please.
I paid for this ticket. I can say what I want.
Yeah.
Go
My
Raiders.
favorite part.
Oh, man.
That's funny.
Oh, man.
Good
JD,
stuff, man.
thank you so much, man, for coming on. We had a blast.
No doubt. I
We could do
appreciate
this so much longer, but of course, we're all busy. Well, you're
No
busy.
doubt. No
You're
doubt.
busier than us. I'll tell you what.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Can't wait to see you on game day. Can't wait to talk to you again. Keep in touch. We'll be tweeting out. We'll be, following you guys, following yourself. But thank you so much for everything, for coming on. And nothing but great things. Go Gamblers.
Go
I have
Gamblers,
to say it.
not
I'm
Go
not
Raiders.
Go Gamblers.
right. No Go Raiders.
No Go Raiders. Right.
I got
Go
the Boston
I'll
accent.
edit the
So
video.
it's Go Raiders to me. Go Raiders.
Raiders. I like
Yeah.
it.
But yeah, thank you so much, JD. We appreciate it. And good luck with everything moving forward. Absolutely.
Thank you guys. Have a great one.
You as well.
You as
Thank
well.
you.